All right, welcome. We've got a treat today because we're going ahead and we're recapping a Game Gear. Now, recapping a Game Gear is something that, as I put up on the stream here, it's a PSA. It's a PSA because you need to recap your Game Gears. So, even this one, that is looks new in the box, which I'll give you a little story on. It's something that, of course, even this is just rotting away in a box. Not good. Now, this does work. We'll try it out. However, we're going to make it work better, and be more reliable. So, what I have here is a Sega Game Gear boxed with a beautiful price of $29.94. Now, this is something I bought when it was, at the store. Like, I went to the store, which was at the time, I don't know if it's a New England thing or not, but it's called Ames. And there was one right on Route 44. So I go to Ames on Route 44, and I saw the Game Gear. Now, I never had a Game Gear. I had a Game Boy Pocket, I had the original Game Boy, and I think even when I ended up seeing this, it was like late 90s, Game Boy Color was already out, and I was like, oh man, I always wanted a Game Gear, but I just never got one, right? Well, this was my chance, and this was in a bargain bin with a bunch of games that were all discounted as well. It was a special buy for $29.94, and I didn't even know. Now, what's interesting about this one is, of course, the fact that it is put under the microscope too. Put it the right way for you. It is one of the Majesco ones, and it is. This is the original one that's in here. It is a Majesco. You can tell it has the black and white for the screen cover there, the glass. It was pretty funny because as a kid, well, I was a little more grown up than a kid then, but I literally was like, oh, I guess it was always black and white, even though the box shows color. That these little things that were, I'll show you even down here. These things that on normal Game Gears were, normal Game Gears that was color, but on the Majesco it was black and white. Essentially, they were all just white. So I thought mine was defective, or that it was just old stock and it eventually just died or something, like faded, because I figured this was just stock from the early 90s. Little did I know, which is what is with this system, is that in the late life, the twilight, if you will, of the Game Gear, Majesco actually went ahead and redistributed and rebadged a bunch of Sega Genesis stuff, including a Genesis 3, much smaller version, which I also had, and the Game Gear. So, yeah, this is my Game Gear from day one. So, I don't use this one anymore. Again, I have a modded one, so I don't use this one. Yeah. I have one with the Mick Will screen and VGA out and stuff, so this one's been in its box for a very long time. Look at that, even got some instructions. So yeah, so it's in great shape because, I had it. It was mine. I took good care of my stuff. It does have some scratches on the screen, but you can still have the instructions. It's got an epilepsy warning. Look at that. That's good. That really is good that they have that for, because in the 90s, I don't think many people were, unfortunately, thinking about that. If you ever played like a game and it's flashing all over the place, Game Gear power sources. Yeah, using the Game Gear in airplanes, just check with the airline. Okay, check with the airline, okay, please. Check with the airline before you go on board. All good stuff here. Now, like I said, if I wanted to be purist like some people, which is nothing wrong with that, sort of. I could go ahead and leave this exactly like it is, right? Just leave it and let it essentially rot, because that's what it'll do, it'll rot. But I'm not like that. I don't want this bad boy to rot. So, we're recapping her. Heck yeah. So you can even see what I mean? By the top being all white. I thought it like faded over time, but it really didn't. It was just that's how they came, because it was Majesco. I also noticed something kind of crazy. The power LED, you can sort of see they didn't line up the screen very well. Again, I do not replace the screen. I've had it since day one, so I know this for a fact that they never. I remember that I was like, I didn't line that up very well. It's like, oh, all right. Everything feels so tight on it. Yeah, probably because I when I went ahead and bought it, I bought Sonic 2. And yeah, because it didn't come with it. I bought Sonic 2 and I bought like Battle Tanks, I think it is, something like that. So essentially, I had like 2 games. Bring over a stack of batteries. So essentially, I had 2 games, and that was it. So it's kind of funny. It's like, oh, of course I got bored of it quick, put it back in the box. What else am I gonna do with it? Where is... Let's say I know I need my security bit. I bet you that's over there. I'm gonna go ahead and try this out first. Pretty sure this still works because I unboxed it before and tried it out and it worked. So, which means the caps are, well, in some of the caps still good at least. But again, it'll still work even with bad caps, in some cases, just not be as bright or anything. But speaking of bright, I swear there's something on the screen. And that Mick Will mod is so much better, but it works. There you go, sound and all. See, so sound and all. It works, just may or may not be in an ideal state. But that's fine. We're gonna get it back there. Oh yeah. Sonic 2 was really fun on the go. It really was. But enough of that. So of course, as always, we got our kit from Console 5 for capping. Again, shout out to them, to Luke from Console 5. Luke is incredible. The stuff he sells, more than just cap kits, is great for the retro community, and of course the cap kits are huge. Because for me, yeah, I got a whole bunch of capacitors laying around and stuff, but oh, I dropped some batteries back there. That's fine. Actually, I should probably put not near the heat of the fan of the computer. But the big thing is that, wow, with Luke, okay, we're still good. With Luke, everything's there. You don't have to think about a thing, which is great. It's fantastic. Buy a kit, everything's there. Alright, so this is never been opened. I can tell. It's really tough in there. But yeah, I always wanted a Game Gear when I was a kid. Oh my goodness, always wanted it. And then, well, I got one. And well, never used it. Yeah, these screws are rather tight in there, that's for sure. So, what's the PSA part all about? Well, at the end of the day, if you own a Game Gear, it's already got a death sentence. It's got a death sentence. It's got a death sentence because Game Gears have SMD, surface mount caps, essentially capacitors, and the problem with them is that they are very prone, at least the brands that they used, they're very prone to leakage. Now, believe it or not, the Sega Genesis, the Sega branded ones, the ones that were made by Sega, which, you know, 90% of, like, you know, users had, because that was the one that's been out for years, have the worst caps. The Majescos actually have decent caps. However, this thing is pushing 20. And when I say decent caps, I mean better than the Sega caps, but not saying the best caps here. So, it's a good idea to go ahead and replace it now. Now, the kit that Luke uses, or Luke sends, does have some SMDs in it, but the majority of them are electrolytic. So, we are going to be essentially soldering to the pads. So we are going to be using a hot air rework station to go ahead and get the old ones off, and we're going to be using our soldering iron to get the new ones on. Alright, here we go. So it should be attached with a couple of ribbon cables. Yes, it is. I've been inside a Game Gear once or twice in my life. Look at this cap. This cap's a little messed up already. You know, looking at it, and again, that doesn't mean much. It's actually not that bad. Yeah. I don't see any that stick out right away. Wow, what is this? Electra China? I don't think I've ever seen this before in a Game Gear. And again, this hasn't been opened. That's a little weird. Wow. Took me by surprise. Alright, let's go ahead. Separate the two boards. First thing you want to do. Well, three boards really, but the two sides, what I meant to say. What's amazing about the Game Gear is, of course, usually the sound circuit is the one that's it usually goes first. And that's this one right here. So I'll just show you the one over here. Whoop. This is the one that usually goes first, with the SMD caps that are on there. So, but the sound works good, so it hasn't gone yet. But we're not going to wait for the inevitable, because every Game Gear, even the Majescos, could use a recap. It's like especially the Sega ones need a recap, but the you know, like if you have a Sega one, like the one with the color and the left top left of the glass, it needs a recap. There's no questions asked. The thing's already dying on you if it's in a box. But with the Majescos, they will tend to they were, you know, made later. They have different caps in them, so they will tend to last a little bit longer for you. But still, recap it. you know. All right, work one side at a time. So I'll put this over yonder, next to actually some stuff we might need, tinfoil and such. I'm gonna take these boards out, recap them one at a time. I lost my other end of this. I had it a couple days ago, but you know, got a kitty cat, so guarantee it's somewhere, probably under something. Take off this metal shield first. All right, now with the metal shield off, you can go ahead and you can see the two boards. So, go ahead. Start with the soundboard. Because to be honest, that's the most notoriously bad one, so why not? We'll start there. So, let us start. So, like I said, we're going to start with the soundboard. So let's take that out. Put this off to the side. Not going to need it. Alrighty. So these are SMD caps. So I'm going to show you how to go ahead and really the best way to take off SMD caps. They are, you know, it's rather easy to do. I think a lot of people do get a little, you know, scared of it, and that's okay. Let me get you unscared of it. So, yeah, I'm just setting stuff up in the computer better. Alright, make sure I can see you, and you can see me. Alright, so one big thing that I see a lot of, I don't want to say amateurs, but people that don't mod often, is that they come into these things unprepared. So when you go ahead and you do SMD caps, like this, especially on a board like this, where there is mucho plastic, lots of plastic, what you want to do is pretty simple. You want to use either tinfoil or Kapton tape. Either one of these to cover these, the area around where you're going ahead and using the hot air gun is going to be huge, because what it's going to do is essentially, if you don't use it, you're going to start melting these things, which is no good. So this is going to help prevent that, especially with ones like this, where again you see this cap right here is so close to that plastic, and this cap right here is so close to that plastic. Again, both are insulators that are going to help keep the heat away. And so it'll be all good when you go ahead and take it off. So let's go ahead and do that now. It's like just a little bit of work that does make a huge difference. Especially because, you know, I'm assuming you got this stuff all around. And again, people may think, oh no, tinfoil, what are you doing? You're gonna short out that whole board. It's not powered right now, and although yes, these are capacitors, we're still safe here doing this. So we'll make sure that that plastic is as covered up as it can be. So kind of fit that tinfoil in there in this case, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it around there. Now you can just go ahead and, you know, do the alternative, like put it over, cut a hole, which, yeah, maybe I'll do that too. With the tweezer, I just literally poke a hole in it, and then kind of gauge how big it is, and just, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know, and you're really just trying to protect everything around it, and just keeping that heat really where you want it, which is at the capacitor, not all around. So just kind of get it all in there. Make sure you can see the leads, because you want to make sure that they're molten. You go ahead and you take up the cap. Now, does this take up a little bit more time? Yes, it does. Of course it does. But it is definitely the right way to do it, by far. Definitely by far. So, in my eyes, totally worth it. Alright, let's get her started. So, we're going to be doing it at around, I like to float around 300 to 315. So, I'll actually do 310. At about 55 percent, and this one it goes on my 85, 858D or A58D. You know, we're looking at about 5.5 with the airflow. You know, not too big. Okay, and here we go. What I like to do is have this, and again, you can always aim it away from the plastic part. You always want to kind of go in circles. Don't keep it in one place at once. It's just like if you remember us doing the FRAM, very similar, very similar. Again, the idea is that this will come right up. That's the goal. It'll come right up. So maybe you need to take your time with it. That's okay. The nice thing is, you know, it's a capacitor. There's no adhesive or anything. Maybe should use my helping hands to keep it in place for you guys, but oh well. We'll call that a. Hold on a sec. Where did I put my helping hands? I had them right here. At the beginning of the stream. It's right here. Oh, there it is. Too many tools. Nah, I can't have too many tools. Yeah, this is going to be easier so I can just hold it in place so you guys can see better. That's the goal anyway. There we go. Yeah, the nice thing about the tinfoil too is that, you know, the goal is that it won't heat up any other components around it as well. So even, you know, smaller caps, resistors, things like that that might be in the area, it'll go ahead and prevent it from really messing those up too. So it's good practice overall. And we'll just do another tinfoil piece. Now, I have to check the Console 5 kit because I'm not too sure if he replaces these with SMDs, you know, on the audio board here, or if he just goes ahead and replaces them with electrolytic caps. So we'll find out. All right. Of course, first thing I do, knock it. All right. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna use some capped on tape because this is kind of an awkward place to keep it down, but keep the tin foil down. But you know, I just wanted to do one clear as day to kind of show you. So maybe use capped on tape then. It's only because I'm on stream. So it isn't. I've done this a million. this a million times. Alright, you can see it. Perfect. Let's do it. Also the camera, the microscope's in the way, but again, just keep it moving around it and it'll get molten. Especially at like 310, it'll get molten. And with no pressure, you want to just be able to lift this right off its pads. Just like that. See? So, see how it all worked out? Perfect. Okay, so got a lot of heat, little heat on the connector, but you know, would have been a lot worse. And that cap, see, look at that, boom. 2 pads we can easily solder to, which is fantastic. So, curious looking at the kit. Yep, we are replacing with SMDs. Look at them right there. So, we go ahead, take the rest of them off. Let's go to it. That's a clean one. Nice. Oh, that just fell off. Okay. Are able to see. If I work for me. Yeah, here's my helping hand, so just gotta hold it down. Cool. So the next hard one's gonna be that one right there, because again, next to the plastic. So again, we're gonna go now. We're gonna kind of wrap it around, so it'll be good. Kind of starting with what I think is one of the harder parts of this recapping on a Game Gear, only because of all the plastic stuff nearby. There we go. Now I got the helping hands in the way too. So we got this. And there it is. Boop. Right off. We'll take away the heat. Because again, especially with that plastic, you don't want to mess with that. There we go. And we've got these over here. So what I'm going to do with these is kind of almost create a barrier. An IC chip in the plastic. I'm going to take them both off. Because once we take off one, the other one will be ready to go soon thereafter. There you go. Kind of keeping it moving. No pressure. Boom, right off. Same here. No pressure. Boom, right off. Take that heat away. I'm going to take it all away. I'm going to shut it right off. Alright. There you go. We're ready to put the new caps on. Did I put them back in the package? No, I put them right there. There she goes. So, time to get that soldering iron all heated up. I'm gonna actually put this down on the floor, so it'll cool down over there and be good. Soldering iron ready to go, check. ISO, check. Brush, check. Flux, check. Excuse me, solder, check. We're good. We're golden. Okay, so I think we'll do the little guys first. There's only two of them. These are again, you always want to look at the plus. The plus is going to be the negative is going to be the side with the line, and then the plus is going to be your positive. So that's the side without the line. So easy to distinguish. What I like to do, I add a little bit there, and again I put on some flux. I put it down, almost tacking in the SMD. And you can move it a little bit. You can use tweezers. I like to use my fingers, but I also like to be at a different angle than this. But we're gonna work with what we got. There we go. And then just if you need to add more flux, you can go ahead, put that in there too. Make sure it's nice and flat. Make sure it's all lined up. Go ahead and solder that last part in there. Nice. I want to keep this as flat as possible because these look a little taller than stock by hair. I don't think it's going to make a difference, but the gas situated where I'm at, which is up here. So I got my soldering iron at around 340 right now, which is a little on the warmer side, but it should be alright. Yeah, I can't see. I'm sorry, but the other one's going to be a little bit harder, so I kind of had to move it a little bit so I could see better. Oh my gosh. Make sure both are in place. Alright, so those are those little guys. Now we go to the bigger guys, which doesn't mean they're harder, you know, anything like that. It's just I want to get those little guys done first. Alright. There we go. And to the, yep, okay. There we go. I kind of need to do it at an angle for myself. Again, you can use tweezers. I just prefer to use my fingers. I feel like I can line it up much better using my fingers, so you can use tweezers. Tacking that one side, pressing down, making sure it's making contact, and in place. Nope, so much flex on my finger, it just stuck to me. So we'll go back over that after we put this other side in. One more flex. Nice and flat. Alright, good. And then we're going to clean that all off, so don't you worry. Yeah, I actually not a fan of SMD caps. I know some people prefer to do SMD caps. I don't. I'd much rather through holes. A good desoldering gun. It's just, you can't go wrong. Now I'll turn this board around. So you can still see correct? Nope. A little more. Bada bing. Cool. A little flux in there. A little solder on there. Let's get that in there. Alright. There we go. Make sure that's all good. It's a tough spot, that one, but it's alright. Got the one left on the soundboard, which is the one that we started with. Ironically, didn't really mean for that, but just how it worked out. Go from this angle. Flux. A little more. Up. This one just has such awkward placement. Really awkward placement. I really don't like using tweezers, believe it or not. When it comes to this, I have way more control over my hands. Let's get this nice and molten and drop this in. Keep it as flat as we can. Okay. Oh no! My iron caught the edge of the headphone jack. That's what I was afraid of. Last one, of course, too, right? It happens. Not gonna affect it, but... like I said, the whole mod, this is the hardest part. The soundboard. And we're done with minimal damage. Alright, let's clean it up. A little bit of ice purple alcohol. Again, using no clean flux, but always good to clean with some isopropyl alcohol. And then I even like to dry it off a little afterwards too. Then check the connections, and then hopefully this board, well, should be all done with this board, which again I would say is probably one of the more difficult boards of this entire recapping process, just due to the nature of everything being so close. I mean, honestly, handhelds are, in my opinion, a lot harder to recap than, you know, home consoles, because everything is so close together. Yeah, it's looking good. Oh, cool. I think I'm going to need a new brush soon. But yeah, look at that. 1998 this board. 1998. Alright, just put that off to the side, because that's good. All good. Alright, next board, sticky fingers. Sticky fingers. Go. Watch this real quick. Then, I'll wash my hands. We'll get into the next board. So there you go. So it should be easier to lift this up, and then we can even put some hot glue underneath if we want to, you know, afterwards. There you go. Feeling right up already. Yeah, that's like the nice thing about isopropyl alcohol. Literally, you just you can use that to take the adhesive right off on hot glue. That's why, like, if there's no cut mods and there's a little bit of hot glue on there, I personally don't mind it, because I think to myself, that's good, because if I ever want to take it off, I don't even have to do anything but just put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on there. That's it. And I'll take that right out. And get it in there as much as we can. And yep, look at that, lifting right up. There you go, just like that. And then we can go ahead and lift it right up cleanly. This is just some fragments on it we can get off afterwards. And then watch this, watch this. It's like the peelies, right? So, right off. it's not coming off very easily. Just put a little more isopropyl alcohol in there. And boom. It's magic! Nah, it's actually science. I think. Alright, so now now that that's off, if I'm not mistaken, this should be able to lift right off. Oh, and it is. Whoa. So again, even just to show you guys, you just get used guys. So now that it's off, even though you're probably going to see better on the bottom right hand camera, you just whomp right off and you see part of the battery power right here, because this is the power board. So let's go ahead and start our desoldering iron. That bad boy we are going to need, because these are through hole caps. My personal favorite. It's very true. I really do love through holes. They make, I think it's just, they're just nice and easy for me. Others may not like it. That's okay. Actually, while we're waiting for that to heat up, why don't we put back our power board? So make sure it's all good, everything's good, it's nice and clean. You know, because I like working with liquid flux. However, there's no denying liquid flux gets everywhere. I tried paste, and I didn't really like it too much personally. I know it works well, but it does work well. I'm not knocking it whatsoever. I just couldn't get into it. I tried the flux pen, and it just kind of felt like the liquid, but, you know, believe it or not as controlled, at least my pen that I got, my particular one, which was a cheap one anyway, you know, which could be the reason why, but nevertheless, I like the liquid, but man, the liquid gets everywhere. I'll say, do you like the music? I like the music. It's good. It's good music. It's royalty-free synthwave. Of course it's good music. Here we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Alright. Put this back over to the side. We'll put this back over here, and we'll get out the right caps for it. Let's go through some of them. Actually, on my phone, I have what's amazing about Console 5, and again, Luke, thank you, you're amazing, is with everything he has capacitor lists. So, boom, nice and easy. Power board, we got 3, and they are 22 microfarads. Which is 820 is one of them. Yep, it is. 820. 22 microfarads. Look at these are such high quality caps, they really are. Whoa, 22. We have a couple 22 microfarads. Let me just double check here. Just gonna say. What do we got? So 820. Yep, 820. What am I looking for? Oh, 100 as well. There you go. Yeah, 10 volts? No. Too small. You know it's going to be the last one. It's too small. Last one. Told you. Oh well. Alright, let's get these off. So again, one big thing that I like to do, I think if you ever watched me before, you already know it, add fresh solder. So we're going to add fresh solder to go ahead and essentially make these easily come off with our desoldering gun. I mean easily, it'll come right off. Knock on wood. There we go. Next one is right here. Okay. And then right down here. So you're probably wondering why this one, this particular Game Gear, I'm not going ahead and you know, replacing it, you know, replacing the screen or anything like that. It's because I just want it stock. You know, it's one I used for a little bit in my childhood. Like I remember buying it and such. So that's definitely why. So I just kind of want to keep it that way. I want to keep it stock. You know. I've got everything in the world around this. Big sheets of tinfoil. Helping hands I probably won't need again for a while. Put that back there. You just don't know where it is. Cool. So this one, again, I don't like to do it under the microscope. It's because I like to have gravity, again, feed right into it. So anytime you do any type of desoldering, the soldering gun, if you can like hold the board like this or what have you, let gravity do the work. Let it slow down instead of fighting against it. Suck, do a little bit of a twist, get anything else around it, and the caps will just pop right off. Boop. I like to check the caps. This cap was good. I bet you a lot of these caps are going to be alright. But for me, it's about longevity and safety. Because I don't want to all of a sudden go pick this up and hope it doesn't work because, I let it just, the caps sit there and just rot in there. Okay, another good one. At least from the outside. Maybe they could be dried up inside, you really don't know, There we go. Power board's the easiest. Yeah, Rubicons. That's a Rubicon. I bet you Rubicon, yeah, Rubicon. Which I think Rubicons are okay. I don't think they're that bad. So, and again, as always, when you look at the silk screening, that's going to give you all the... Did it freeze? It froze. Come back to me. This microscope is not the greatest. I really just use it for streams. If I go into settings, maybe it'll come back. It likes to do that sometimes. All I do is I go into settings, I re-click on it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm back. Oh, come on, it was back for a second. Yeah, I'll keep my hand off so I'll know when it comes back. Nope, not today, huh? I was just not showing up altogether, huh? Might be moving cams if this thing doesn't want to work. There we go. There we go. Okay, so again, what's really nice is the silk screening. It tells you right where the negative goes. So again, when you look at this, the negative is going to be the one with the shorter leg on the cap. So if you look at the cap, there's one that's shorter, and on the cap itself, it's got a stripe. If you look at the silk screening here, you've got right here the shaded in part. That's your negative. So again, this should pull right through like so. Get down as flat as you can. Fold over the legs just to hold it in for now. Alright, let's get the rest of them in there. Yeah, that's what I thought. So this one's gonna go. here. C11. There we go. So, now that they're in place, I guess I do this nice and easy. So what I like to do is we'll do probably this one first. Okay. So I'll show you. So put a little flux. Like a dab, you don't need too much. Then what I like to do is I'll pull up one leg to be straight up. Okay? Alright. Now it may move, but that's okay, because what you're going to do is you're going to add heat. Alright, until it becomes molten around it. Pull up. And then hold it up. Okay? And that should keep it nice and flush. And then once you've got one like that, then the next one is literally just going right in there. You want that nice cone. Then we're going to trim those off in a second, but I'm going to show you again. So, a little bit of flux, nothing too crazy. So again, I'm going to pull this up. Now that other leg to this one is still down. Go ahead, fill it up. You can see it forms right around it, and then just kind of pull it up, pull up on it. I keep moving it when I pull up on it, but that's okay. This one doesn't want to go all the way down. Might need more flux on it, or no, there we go. But anywho, that'll make sure it's nice and flush. Okay. The other way you can do it on a small board like this, just go ahead. You can push on it from the back while you heat it up. Make sure it's all nice and lined up when you do your first pin, because when you do the second pin, you know, it'll make it a lot easier. Yeah, these are bigger pads, so they're going to need a little bit more. Cool. And again, you can always, even if it's not perfect, you know, you can always go back to it afterwards. After you solder the other one in good. See, so solder that one in nice. We'll go back, just touch this up real quick. There you go, actually I'm going to do one. Just trying to get away. And there we go. So then you take your flush cutters and you go hold on to it so it doesn't go flying everywhere, but just trim down these legs. I hold on to it because otherwise they go flying across the room. So that helps. Alright, and as always, take a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and let's get that flux off. Now, because these are through holes, flux definitely could have gotten on the other side too, so now just do a little bit there around the caps to make sure it's all good. Actually looks like that one moved a bit. That's an easy fix. then just get that nice purple off. We'll put this thing right back in, right where it was, and I'm gonna hot glue it so it is literally gonna look like stock. That's the goal. Now, the goal of this is really to essentially be as stock as it can be. You know, because it's, you know, that's how I want to keep this particular unit. I want to keep it stock. So there we go. So let's go ahead, put this back in. Boop. Perfect. Screw it back in, and then we'll glue. Oh, don't forget the power switch. Else you'll be cussing yourself out. Believe me, you're not missing much. Missing 2 tiny screws going in. And then we're going to get to the main board. I'm trying to think what I put it up to the side of the blackboard. There it is. May or may not have had some capacitors over it. Alright, so this was essentially in like that. So we're going to re-glue it just like that. Just like Sega intended. We're literally just putting it back to what it was. Actually, I think I can do an even better job. Sega had them looking like that. And look at that. Well, technically Majesco. Not Sega. Majesco had it looking like this. There you go. Once that dries, it's going to look just like how it was when we opened it. Well, similar enough, right? So, there you go. So now, while that's drying, let's put this metal shield back on. So it's less screws, because again, we are going to be taking out a few more screws on that motherboard. Yeah, it's one thing I've noticed over the years and years and years and years and years and years of modding is that Sega products usually need a recap sooner than later. They just didn't use really good capacitors back in the day. The SMDs were notoriously bad overall, not just Sega consoles, but Sega consoles. And then even the electrolytic caps they used weren't ideal. Like I said, Majesco used better ones, for sure. I mean, Rubicons they're not like the Nichicons, which are the ones that, Console 5 uses that are incredible. Or like Panasonic ones, but they're good enough. But, actually, let's switch. Alright, so what do we got? We got quite a few, as always. The main board's got a few more screws than anything else. So these square things you're seeing right here, right? So here's some square ones right here. These are the capacitors. That's what they are. That's what they look like inside of a Game Gear and a couple other handhelds too. I think the Lynx looks like that. I forgot off the top of my head. I have one I have to actually recap over there with the Mickwell screen mod. But yeah, so interesting stuff, right? It always is though. Yeah, I wanted to recap this one for a while, mainly because it really is just unbelievably, in great condition. I want to keep it in great condition. Stuff off this board. Alright, let's get back into these caps. So again, these square things are, believe it or not, capacitors. As weird as that sounds, because they don't look like your normal capacitors. So we're going to replace them with much better capacitors, that's for sure. Much better capacitors. So, let's get right into it. So this is a VA5, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So, because it's a VA5, we're going to go ahead and follow our sweet wiki for VA5. These out of the way. Alright. Let's get right into it. I think I'm going to have to change this tip soon. I do think I'm going to change this tip soon. Oh well. So let's get into it. So with these caps, it's not a bad idea. Go ahead. Especially because they're so weird, to go ahead and actually apply some heat to each side, and then from there go ahead and take them off. I used to use the hot air gun, but it just became more of a hassle. You could literally lift them up like that, like little soldiers. Kind of wiggle each leg out. Without, any damage to the pad or anything. So, just make sure you wiggle it out, and that, you know, you heat it up so it comes loose from the pad, and that it doesn't like rip from the pad. And I started with this cap because, as you can imagine, it is in a crappy location. And you can't even see it. It's in such a crappy location. Add a little bit of fresh solder on there. There we go. So the way these caps are going to be put in is a little different. So the cap we just took out literally says, like, look at these things. It says 100 microfarad, 6 volt. Oh, thanks, Ray. I'm glad you think it's cool. I think others would think it's kind of dorky, kind of, you know? But I appreciate you thinking it's cool. Do you ever, again, we're recapping a Game Gear. I'll say, I know you've probably heard of a Game Gear back in the day. Did you ever have a Game Gear? That's the real question. Did you ever get to experience the Game Gear? There we go. 100 UF, 6.3 volts. Or did you have a Game Boy? Did you have any handhelds? Do you have any of them? They were so popular back in the day when we were kids. So popular. Alright, so as always, when you take a peek at this, you can easily see, boom, stripe, that's your negative, that's going to go on the ground here. You can see they even put a little plus right there. That's going to be the longer leg, but we're going to come down anyway. Maybe Game Boy. Well, see, Game Boy's a good one. That's a great one. Game Boy's a great one. So we're going to trim these. I like to trim them little by little, make sure they still have enough space to go between each one. Because see, these are going to go boop, right in there, right where this old one was. So what I like to do as well is take my flat pair of tweezers and bend them a little bit. So when I say bend them, I mean like, here we go, that one actually bent a little bit better, like that. So the reason why is that they'll actually hit these pads a lot better. Because again, technically we're replacing them with caps that, you know, weren't made for this, but it could be much, much better. Yeah, those square pads. Oof. Yeah, those squared caps are just so weird. Or really rectangular. Yeah. Look at it, look at the difference. What even is this thing? Replacing with high quality Nichicon caps. So we've gotten ahead, we've already put in our already put solder on our pads, and just gonna melt them right into it. That's the goal. I like to add a little bit more solder to make sure I'm getting good contact while holding it down. Well, there you go. Done and done. This cap. Again, kind of move around, make sure it's good, all good. Yeah, make sure it's not touching anything else, which it's not. I think I might just go ahead and move this leg over just a little bit. Oh, went right back. There we go. Hold it for a second. Bada bing. Oh, we're back again. Okay. Yeah, let's get some more fresh solder. There we go. So Ray, you were on earlier. We were doing a little bit more eliminators from Forza, which was fantastic. Did you get, what was the highest you got? I saw the 25th place one. Did you get any higher than that? Did you get any higher? Again, I agree. 25 was not bad for the first time, that's for sure. Cool, sounds good. Move on right to the next one. So we got C39, which on our schematic is a 10 microfarad, 50 volt. There should be a 10 microfarad, 50 volt in here. Let's see. Not that one. Not that one. Actually, this might be it right here. About to the side, make sure. Do we have any other ones? Should have 3 actually in our kit. Let's see. Do we have 3? Again, the last one again. Alright. So we do. Alright. So let's get this bad boy off. Same way as before. This is going to be much easier. Look at this. So again, iron's at around 340. Heat it up. And again, if you're doing this at home, you're not going to have a big camera in your face. Makes life a little bit easier. There we go. Let that come right on up. And again, make sure it gets molten before it comes up. You don't want to rip up any pads. And again, it says right there, boom, positive. Your other one is your negative. So I'm going to add a little bit more. There we go. One more solder. And just like before, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to cut them. And I already pre-bent them a little bit. So bada bing. Should be good. Just going to do a little bit more bending. So again, make sure positive and negative go off the stripe, and of course up the silk screen onto the actual board. And then once it's looking good, put it in. Did I bang it out? No, okay. I wasn't sure if I banged the camera out. I was like, it almost looked like it did, but it distracted me. And I kind of did actually. That's fine. go up the lead a little bit. There we go. I always think, you know, when I'm recapping or fixing an old console is, you know, did like Sega ever think people would be like doing this so many years later? And the obvious answer is no. I don't think they did. I think that they thought, you know, game consoles were disposable, and that once the new one came out, no one cared about the old stuff. And that's not that far from the truth. Again, growing up, you know, how many people traded in their Nintendos once Super Nintendo came out, right? So it almost felt like they were disposable. So, you know, they would think, yeah, why would I? You know, why would we be doing this so many years later? So it's crazy to think the truth. I will say the best thing about this recap is, like, any recap like this is that the capacitors are so different that it is very easy to be like, oh, okay, I already did those caps. You would have to be blind to like not see what you've already done. I like to, you know, be, I don't want to say liberal, but be, you know, rather generous with some of the solder, in particular, when I do these, because of one really good reason, and that this is a handheld. This handheld is going to be, you know, in motion. People are going to be, you know, it's going to be used. So, you know, you don't want a weak solder joint to mess up your game. It's no good. So okay, once you bend it out, you bend the pins out, bend the pins down, it'll fit, boom, right in there. Again, feel free, you know, just kind of play with it, just, you know, don't break off any pins on caps and stuff, but get a little bit of solder on the end. I'm gonna hold it. Sorry, I'm a righty. Yeah. Just a good way to tack that in place. You just flow with some solder. There you go. Bada bing. And I just did those because these three are the same. So I figured I'd just get these done out of the way, especially because I found all three of the caps in the pack. So again, you can easily go ahead, take off all the caps, go by the the amazing wiki on console 5, but you know, like I always say, I take my time anyway. I really enjoy this. I do this for the love of the game. So, I don't mind taking my time. Don't mind it at all. Although I do cross-reference it and double-check it. And the wiki is so useful. It's awesome that we have that information. It really is. It really is. All these new resistor leads to add to my bag of resistor leads that I use for jumpers and such. It's exciting. Alright, so we got positive that way, so we're going to bend the correct way. You know, don't bend it backwards. And then bend them out a bit. Dry fit it. Oh. Okay, yeah, just need to push this one down a little bit more. Maybe thinking to yourself, wow, he's not using a lot of flux. He's not using any flux. Well, with these, I tend to find that if you use flux, like more flux than what is actually on the, what is actually, you know, in the core of the solder, it gets really messy. I find that, especially with the solder I use, this flux is actually decent, that it'll work fine on a recap like this. So we don't have to use so much flux and then just mess up this board really crazy. Because it does, it gets all sticky and eh. So alright, let's do these 10 6-volts here. 10 microfarad 6 volts, so that's I assume these guys. Yeah, because they're 25 volts, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. We can do these 3 and those 2 all at once. Cool. Now let me show you what I was talking about. 1, 2, 3. Let's do those 4, 5 over there. These ones will just take off all at once. Now, so far, haven't seen a lot of, haven't seen any corrosion, which is good. Again, does that mean these caps are good? Well, yes and no. They could be dried up as well. So it's, you know, honestly hard to tell sometimes. Let's add some fresh solder. This is definitely the ground plane, just sucking up all that heat. Here it is. Come on. There it is. So taking off all these that are the same caps. So there's actually 2 on this side as well. Just because, you know, then we could place all 5 easily. They're all at once, there's no guessing. They're all the same caps. Game Gear, what a system. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and just get for solder on those. Let's put some new caps in. That's frozen. Looks like I'm plugging and unplugging. First, got the desoldering iron on. I don't really do not need that on. So let me shut that off. It's gonna be one of those situations where it comes back when it wants to come back. It's like, oh yeah, you were using me, that's right. Digging the song though. Hey, that's my arm. Perfect. Okay. Boom, positive. So we're gonna put, it froze again, didn't it? Oh my gosh. This thing just wants to be on my nerves. There it is. There's my arm. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Alright, don't freeze again. Here we go. Okay. You decided to join us. Cool. Okay. So there you go. These ones are going to cut short. because they're longer than the ones we've been taking out. So that's one thing with these ones. I'd rather not like lay them on a resistor if possible, you know. I'll just do that. Tack one side in place. We'll flood the other side. And flood the other side. Yep. There you go. Make sure it goes down to the pad. And then go back over what we tacked in. Bada bing. And that is securely in there. That's what you want. That's how you do it. It's actually really easy. Honestly, once you get the hang of it. That was like a really 80s song. I like that song. It was like really 80s. Had like lyrics and stuff. A few of these fat lyrics, but I have like a lot of lyrics. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna bend these. Actually, bend this one a little closer, and then down, and down. This one's gonna have to go over that capacitor. There's no way. It's just, there's literally no way. There you go, put it in place. Tack one side in. Still even a little too wide. There you go. Let's flood this up. Bada bing. Oh, you didn't even see that. There you go. Flood it up. Then we flood the other side. Bada bing. Good. You know, keep mindful of the positive and negative, and you're good. Back this way. Oops, we did that whole part of the board. There's only two on that part of the board. That's it. Yeah, Venus. Yeah. Why not? Why not? This one you only have so much space before you're off the board. You're off the board. Alright, and then let's go ahead and put this in a little bit. That seems like it's a lot of it. Yeah. Should be alright. do the thing. Add some fresh solder. Onto the pads. Perfect. And then that's the positive up. Actually, this one needs to bend down a little bit more. There we go, tacked in. So we can just kind of flood up the other side. Perfect. And then go back over this side. Perfect. See? And it's still on the board. So I didn't want it to go off the board. Probably could cut those a little bit shorter, but it works. I don't think it's going to get in the way of anything, so there you go. Alright, same here. Flood these up. That's all there is to it. Let's recap in a nutshell. Recapping a game gear, which is, again, like, mandatory. Especially in the earlier models. I said bottles? What? I'm getting all tired. It's okay. Actually, almost done. But yeah, so earlier models, you got to recap for sure. This one we already noticed that, honestly, these caps, at least on the outside, they weren't leaking. That's the biggest concern. You know, granted, could they have been drying up? Absolutely. However, I would argue that a dried up cap is a much better cap than a leaking cap, because a leaking cap means it's all over your motherboard now. And that's not good. That's going to eat through traces and a bunch of other stuff, which is not ideal. So, definitely dried up cap, much better than a leaking cap. That's for sure. Last but not least for this series of caps. Now be careful, positive goes this way. So, it's gonna be like that. There we go. That'll fit in there perfect. Right in that slot. Can you tell me if it's lined up? Because I can't. There we go. Making these guys as straight as possible. Don't put too much pressure on those pads though, because you don't want them to rip up. Cool. Let's do this annoying little guy. So that looks like a 1 microfarad. Yeah, 1 microfarad. It's gonna be a little one, so I'm gonna go reach in the bag for a little one. It's not it. Man, thought it would be it. Got those. There it is, 1 microfarad. What do we have left? 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Am I missing some? Double check after. Or else we may be done early. Here, we'll take off this 47 microfarad 6 volt. Yeah. That one I know I saw in here. We'll take that off since it's in the way. I saw you. Get back in there. So the seats are both in the way. We'll just get these out of the way. So you can tell the negative on these rectangular caps because of the black stripe there. That's your negative too. But again, this silk screening on the board that tells you just all you'll need. There we go. So we get that off first. So now we'll be able to reach this one a little bit easier. There we go. That attached to my arm. Right. Talk about a little space. I'm even tempted to cut it shorter because of that regulator. How short can I go? Oh, yeah, not by much. It's gonna happen. Sorry. Maybe like a hair. Something that kind of stinks about doing these caps is that you kind of have to cut it before you go ahead and solder it in. So it's not like regular caps where you solder it in, you cut off the excess. When you do through holes with actual through holes. So that kind of stinks, but You get used to it after you do it a million times. My trees just to line it up, just because it's such a little space. Okay, that'll work. That'll work well. In there nice and tight. That's really what we want with all these, that they're in there nice and tight. In fact, some of these caps had like a little adhesive under them here. That these, some of them I noticed kind of seemed like they did, but they were stuck. Okay, so these two, yeah, see this one's got a little adhesive under it. So it's a little bit harder to get out. You can see it, the remnants of it, you can see it. So C36 and C41 should be the same. Yes, 22. Okay, yeah, see it says 22 on that one. Perfect. So that's why we have an extra cap in here. So what's up with the 33? C1. Where the heck is C1? Okay, let's make sure I freeze that. C1 is under there, it's hiding on me. Okay, so we just have one extra cap. Alright, let's take these off. Do the 22 microfarad one first. There's two of them, so we'll just get those two done. Here we go. Don't worry, just imagine me doing the same thing I just did over there. Over here. Didn't miss much. Oh, I hit that cap by accident. Yeah, it's kind of a tight place. Yeah, okay, that cap's fine. Okay. Happens to the best of us. Let's especially when we're tired after doing this all night. I'm busy all day today, though I did have time for a nap, which is nice. But I was busy all day today. Good workout too. It's funny because the the TV I have in my workout room, it's a CRT. Obviously, it's a CRT. I should say, right? That's what motivates me, gets me going. It's that CRT. What better way to watch a Rocky IV montage on, right? There isn't a better way. There is not a better way. Yeah, I do have that CRT in the workout room hooked up to HDMI to composite converter because there's only a composite input on it. But yeah, it's awesome though because it's the TV I grew up with. So it's the TV I beat Metal Gear Solid on for the first time. It's the TV I beat Final Fantasy VII. There's a lot of memories of that CRT. And she is going strong. Knock on wood, she's going strong. So, well, there's way too much solder. How'd that much solder get on there? Gonna heat this up. Cool. Last but not least, we got our last one right here. Boop. Oh, this is not gonna work. There we go. That's gonna be better. Cool. actually, I already recapped my Game Gear with the McWill screen, which again is a great upgrade. Again, you only have like one Game Gear, you're going to use it. That McWill screen, man, looks amazing. And you can do VGA out, which is incredible, which is great. So having that RGB out through VGA is really awesome. And on mine, I actually put in a controller port too, so I can play really sitting on the couch, which is nice. It's really nice. Cool. All right, we're done. That's it. That's all the caps. We have one extra one because on some revisions of the board, I guess there's a 100 microfarad in a spot that we had a 22 microfarad. So we's good. All right, so we are going to be, you know, unlike some of these that like I can't try it out on stream because all the stuff is upstairs. We can try this out on stream. I got batteries. We already did. We already used it on stream right in the beginning. Look at all these little resistors. Yeah. Love it. So like I said, with these, be a crazy hoarder and keep them in the bag. You'll never know when you'll need them for jumpers. So I know I'll never need this much, but I have them. So sometimes it'll be like, you know, just 2 pads, like especially on like Xbox T-Sops. They'd be like, alright, like, yeah, here's 2 pads. You gotta put them together. And it's like, they're like, you know, you can blob it on and you're good. Like, you know, if you add just a little extra, cut a little bit off one of these, put that in there, makes it much sturdier and I think better. Well, maybe not sturdier, but just makes the contact a little bit easier for you. Go around just to check all these caps. So then just give the wiggle test, make sure they're attached. Oh, you didn't hear that, huh? That's a win. Looks great too. Yeah, looks great, plays great. Fantastic, you did a job well done. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these screws back together, and we did ourselves a favor. Because PSA, we just saved this game gear. So otherwise, down the road, this could be something pretty harsh in here, I'll tell you. If we open it up, it could have been, well, not anymore. So what I like to do when I do a recap, it's the last thing I do, I take my Kapton tape, and I used to have a pen here. Used to is the key word. Where's my pen? Anywho, I like to put a piece of Kapton tape and the date of recap. So, just somewhere inconspicuous. It's not going to hurt anything. Not going to get in the way. Not even right here. So put it right there. So I'll just write. Pretty simple. That's right. What's today's actual date? 6:30. Recap. All boards. There you go. Even put my initials. Look at that. Alright, so thanks for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing back together. We got ourselves a fantastic game gear. I'm going to go put back in the box, put back on display. But I know that it's not leaking on the inside, which was my biggest worry. And although all these caps seemed like they were pretty good, I only saw one that was blown. That was one on the audio board. And that's why when I started up it was a little bit loud. And yeah, I don't think I touched the volume, but I could have. But I think that was because of this guy. You can sort of see it's bulgy a little bit, especially if you look at the side. See? Oh, look at the top from the side. See how it bulged? I think that one was no good, but the rest didn't seem that bad. Even, you know, they're not good quality caps, of course. That's kind of, you know, it's a fact. But yeah, didn't seem like any of them leaked. Again, the boards were all labeled 1998, so just to give you an idea, it's about like 8 years more than the other boards have been. You know, it could be 8 years younger. So, all right. Again, thank you for joining us, and if you're not followed already, make sure to follow. We got some great mods. Fearless.